Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I would like to do a couple of tests to test Folio and also a little bit of Soleil to remember a little bit the current status of both heroes. They are not maxed out, but I think they are okay to be able to be tested. Soleil has all the gears, has an okay talisman, and has all the skins. Well, the default one is the only thing it has. Artifacts, max out weapon and book, and the ring is 5 stars. Glyphs is everything maxed out, instead magic defense and spark of powers, everything, so it's ready to be tested, in my opinion. Is the hero does not work because it's not full stars, instead of 5 to 6 stars, or because it doesn't have the 6-star ring, it means the hero is not good. Simple as this, okay? Folio the same, all the gears, talisman is done, skin is done, artifacts, I have done weapon and ring. Sorry, I have done the book and the ring, max out, and the weapon is 3 stars, is what I was able to manage, it's not yet max out. And glyphs, I have done magic penetration and 20 and 20 for each of them. The reason of doing this, it was to get free resources, but I am waiting for the event where investing them, I will get stones back, right? I get the stone back, so red stones. Okay, but as mentioned before, in this status, in these conditions, if Folio does not work, then it will never work, okay? One thing I already realized is the low health of Folio. It's true that I'm still missing like 20 of health glyphs, but this is almost no health at all, okay? So Folio will need another health skin. Also, take into account how low is the armor. I think a max out one, the armor is around 4,000, I think it is. Yeah, it should be around 4,000 instead of almost 2,000. This is very dangerous versus Jasmine, so it looks like it's food for Jasmine, okay? Anyways, for testing, I think it's more than enough to understand if this is a good or bad hero. Okay, at this level, if this was Julius, was Kayla, was Aiden, any of these heroes, was Oya, was Octavia, it will work. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, saying this, how I am going to test it is I always do the same, which is I test versus the meta teams that currently I'm seeing in Worlds and the common meta teams, and I see how they perform. It doesn't mean that the team I am choosing is the best option, but I would like to see how it performs. Like, do you get something better than 2A? Like when I still seeing 5-5 or 8-2, when I start to see you had more victors than loss, it means we are in the correct path. Okay, which teams I use? So I go always Tristan Oya. I think it's the best for testing, with of course Kela and Aiden with Fafnir. Okay, team number 1 that I always use for testing. Team number 2 will be Dante Octavia with Iris Nebula, and then I will put here, usually I put Corvus, okay, before you put Aurora, so Adio, but I prefer now Corvus, so I put Corvus. This is the other team. Third team will be Traditional Progress, but with Sebastian and Lara. I think this team is very strong currently, not at the good of Dante Octavia or Tristan Kayla, but it's very good. So for anyone that has done or work on Progress team, the only thing you need to do is remove Ginger or Astrid and put Lara and level up the glyphs of Lara and Julius, and you can still have a viable team, okay? This is the other one. For one, the team that is a classic team, which is Faceless Jorge with Astaroth, Cesar, Aiden. So Facey, Aiden here, Cesar is here, and then my dirty Jorge is here. Okay. This is the 4 teams I usually do. Also, what I do is I provide all teams only to understand how they perform also against all teams. So I go with, they are not exactly all, but with nature team, which I use sometimes. That case, I put with Astrid and I will put Clever. I think this is, for average, one of the best nature teams currently, in my opinion. People will prefer to play with Corvus because they are Kayla, but only because it's Kayla, right? And then another team I usually use is the team that was the best team in the game for a lot of time until the release of Oya and Octavia, which is tough. So Tristan, and it's not a bad team. The only thing is you prefer to use Tristan with Kela and Oya than using with Artemis. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, so this is the 3 teams I use. Oh, sorry, the 6 teams I use to test, and then is what I'm going to test. For example, the team you are seeing here is a team that it was recommended to me. Okay, but I will not test it because it's not a team that I came up with. It's was recommended, so I will not. I saw it because it was there, and people say, "Why you have this thing there?" It's because I was testing this. Anyways, we are going to go with Folio here first to see options with Folio. So with Folio, what I have seen a lot of is Ambari Nebula. So Folio needs Nebula, which is already telling you that Folio will need future skins. This is the reason you use Nebula. Then I have seen this with Cascade always. Like when I see Folio, I prefer Cascade. The reason is Folio does a lot of damage if the team is all together, and Cascade makes the whole team all together. So I like with this. I like also to play with Faceless or to play with Astaroth. I like Faceless for this team for the same reason that it put the team all together and also give you my penetration, which is very good with Cascade also. Okay, so let's go to this. This is the team that I am assuming is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test Folio against this team and expected a change in results. 3-7. Not good, not ideal, but 3-7. Okay. So let's go to the next one and I go again with the combo Anbari, Nebula, Cascade with Faceless and Folio. Okay, and also there are times and there are some heroes that they need to be completely maxed out to work, but it gives you an idea. Okay, so clearly does not work against Dante Octavia. Let's go against this team here. Another thing I do is if I already see them versus the common top tier or meta teams, I am not getting any value, I stop testing. Okay, so this is another thing I usually do. Other people prefer to test it when you have time, but let's go with here only to see what I can improve to get a better results. Okay, so I will test first only against the first team. If I see like 0-10, 0-10, 0-10 or 3-7, it's not ideal. But this 3-7 is quite interesting. Okay, like it's quite interesting already. Again, my folio is not maxed out, but let's see this because this is a control team and folio is a control hero. So let's see what happens here. So Ambari, Nebula, Faceless, Cascade, and Folio. Okay, 10-0. For example, this is a interesting surprise, right? Like before, I didn't have to counter this. I was using usually JJ with Jasmine and Sebastian. Now I don't need to use this team. I can use. Looks like this is working well, at least for me, at the level I'm currently it is. Like for example, this is one of the surprise. I go with this team and I go at 10-0. So it means this team could have a lot of relevance. So it looks like it could be working very well. Let's see what happens. Energy. Yeah, it makes sense because this guy will get a lot of energy for the damage. Yeah, and this is the super damage. As you see, you group the team all together and they receive all the damage from the stance of Ambari. Wow, this is all the damage. I think Folio, for what I am seeing, it will be a very dangerous hero when he receives any magic penetration or skin or a proper talisman. As you see, he's doing already 138 and he's missing magic attack from the weapon, of course, like he's not giving almost anything from the weapon, and he's missing some glyphs. Okay, so doing 1.4 is already, I think, only seeing this, I see already a good hero versus it's a good damage dealer, magic damage dealer. When you see something about 1 million damage dealer in a match, it's a hero that you need to consider. Okay, doesn't mean it's the best hero, but means a hero you need to consider. Taking into account that this hero has not got any skins, I think it's a good hero. His talisman is magic attack, and it's an intelligent hero. Intelligent is not good, but magic attack is good. So if he doesn't get something like magic penetration plus magic attack, I don't think that the next talisman he gets, the second talisman, will make any change. It's not like Soleil, which was armor, which in my opinion is a very bad talisman for him. Whereas here, in this case, he got a very good talisman, which can only be matched by a magic attack, magic penetration. So take this into account also, okay? But I think Folio getting maybe a magic penetration super skin, I don't think it will happen, but it's having something like Cascade, like magic attack, super skin, followed by my penetration skin, something like this will make the hero much stronger and it will do more damage. Okay. Anyways, we saw this. I am going to go also with the other all meta teams to see how this works. Okay, so Ambari, Nebula, Folio. Looks very well. One very important point here is remember that you want Nebula to pass Folio. Sometimes you can put a hero here that stays between Folio and Nebula, and then Folio will not get the increase of power of Nebula. So this is not what we want. Okay, so here was Cascade always, and then we say Faceless. Let's see what happens here. 10-0 is risky, quite risky, but looks working well, right? Like I start getting 10-0 than I was not getting before. This for me is at least a good symptom of a good team. Okay, let's see. This is going to be difficult, but we have Faceless, which is a hard counter of Luther. But Ambari, I don't know if will be enough strong to be able to hold the line here. But let's try. Where are you, Folio? Here and Cascade. Also, very good of to mention here is with a max out Folio and a strong Cascade. We will need to play a little bit with the health of both of them and the glyphs to have Cascade with a little bit less health than Folio in a manner that Oya will pick up Cascade and not Folio. This is very important. Okay, currently with my setup, Oya will be picking up Folio, and maybe it's what happens here in this team here. That it was 3-7. I'm quite confident that the problem here is Oya pick up Folio and then I die. Okay, so 7-3. We can see what happened here when we lost to have an idea like what is the issue. And already the problem I know is Folio with 1.2, maybe max out people say it's 1.7 is not strong enough, okay, to put in a way. Okay, so what happens here is a surprise. No, this is Nebula dies. Okay, this is interesting. So probably here we can remove Nebula, put something else, which is going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small modification in the team. Okay, we see that a lot of health is loose, but they are able to break through and then they ultimate and that's it. Okay, but yes, there are options here. Okay, so this team works or looks like it works. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm going to do a small change in the team. Okay, so Anbari, Cascade. So I will always do Anbari, Cascade, Folio. I think this is the team that works. We can try to go with Soleil to protect a little bit better Anbari and put Nebula here without Faceless, but I don't like too much this, and this is the problem. Soleil goes in front of between Folio and Nebula. This is not what we want. We cannot, because we want Nebula with Folio. Okay, so the next thing is if we put Faceless here, maybe there is justification here to remove Nebula and put a hero that works very well with Faceless, is strong enough as a small wall, and also it has a lot of controlling energy, which is giving time to Folio to ultimate, and also has magic attack as a weapon. I think this will be very interesting because are two magic attack weapons followed by one magic penetration and 1.5 or little, well, I would say less, like 66% of magic penetration for magic attack coming from Cascade. Okay, let's try with this and let's see what happens in this version. It could be completely wrong, could be a bad option, but I think it's worth it. Now we have flipped from 3-7 to 7-3. Okay, this is interesting. Then the next one will be Ambari, Nebula. No, sorry, Ambari. I always forget. Folio Cascade. And then Jorge. Yeah, what is? Sorry, I have been leveled up a lot of heroes and everything is all over the place. Anyways, like let's go like this and let's see how it works. 0-10, we're still getting exactly the same result than before. This team is very strong. The only issue is Iris is very easy hard counter with pseudo hard counter with Corvus. Depends on what you put there. But particularly when you have Iris, you go with Octavia and then you are going to kill Iris. Despite for me, if it was not for Octavia, Iris will be one of the best heroes. But also she performs very well with Dante, and for Dante you need Octavia. So but for me, it was not because they can fight against you with Octavia. This team is very strong. Probably the best team in the game. But anyways, let's go to this one here. Ambari, Faceless, Cascade, Folio, and Jorge. Okay, 0-10. Before Before was 0-10, exactly the same. So yeah. So as you see, this is the power of JJ. We see some death here. I will probably not use this, but we see the power here of JJ. We can go and see what happens. But honestly, I think JJ with Lara and you put Sebastian has improved a lot. Okay, I think it's a very viable team. Also, you can try to poke there, and I'm going to do test now with Soleil instead of Sebastian and see what happens. Okay, we are aligned here. The seals are very strong, and they are not able to go through. Yep, and the front damage with Julius and Sebastian and Isaac is too much, and then you lost the whole team. And yeah, okay, this is what happened. Another option here could be that I have no test is to have double wall, which means something like Ambare, Astaroth, Folio, Cascade, something else. Could be Nebula, could be Faceless, could be anything. Okay, so as you see, some improvement only versus siblings. But let's go to the next teams. Ambare, this one, Jorge. I should do it in order. I think it would be better, but anyways. Let's see like this. 10-0 and looks similar in reliability. Okay, so looks like this is a good counter against AXA teams. Let's go against Nature team. Ambari, Faceless, Jorge. To be honest, like I think it was Asak mentioned it, and I agree with him that he was mentioned like. By the way, you don't know Asak? He has a YouTube channel, it's very good, and a channel I will advise to follow. He was mentioned that it's an improvement version of Amira. I think he was mentioned, and I agree with it. So I think it's a good point to see here. And then Casque. Again, this hero I think is a hero worthy to follow because I think it will have a lot of performance impact. Here we lost only before we were losing two, now we lost only one and Barry. We are able to hold the line. So it looks like this version looks a little bit better. And then finally, let's see what happens when we go Ambari, Cascade, Faceless, Jorge, Folio. Again, it's not max out Folio, so what we are doing is trying to understand if it's valuable or not. 9-1 versus TAF. This is very interesting. I would like to see what happens here and what happened after. So, but I will probably one when we won. But it's quite interesting. As you see, it's not a bad team. The only thing is they are very glass cannon, both of them, Folio and Cascade. But this can be easily solved by a health skin for Cascade with Eclipse ups and down and a health skin of a Folio. This type of thing will be solved. And the combo of putting all together, it goes amazingly for Jorge because his no energy gain goes to the whole team, which is quite nice. Okay, so you see it's quite interesting. As you see again, like Folio doing 1-3 and Cascade 1-7, with Folio doing magic attack and Cascade ultimating with the magic penetration will be super interesting. So this, as you see, there is a viable team here. I think a control team will be the option. Okay, like and Barry particularly works very well with Folio, so I think there is a lot of possibilities. We see we work better versus all meta teams versus AXA that still be working 10-0 versus Siblings is a 7-3, so I think it's okay. It's not like bad team. I think it has a lot of options. The point is versus Progress and versus Dante Octavia it does not perform that well, at least at the level that I have Folio right now, but I think it has options in the future. Okay, finally, as I mentioned, I would like to test very fast Soleil. Like one thing that I have been asked a lot of the times is what happens instead of using Sebastian in JJ, or particularly for defense, we use here Soleil. The idea is Julius is super important in this team. If Julius does not die, this team does not die, and this does not die, it will be a very strong team. Okay, so let's go with it, particularly in defense. H2, okay? Let's go. This is going to be, I think, it's funny because Julius is a soft counter of Iris, so it will be interesting, but also Dante hard counter Julius, so yeah, let's see. 37. AUC is working better than the other team. and versus a mirror match, which is something I will never recommend, but hey, let's try it anyways. What I think the worst or the bigger problem here is the weapon of Soleil is only worth a little bit for Isaac. I think there is one skin there, weird skin that use magic attack, but it's at the end it's only for Julius. For Judge, sorry. It only works for Judge, which is not ideal. Okay. So for example, this version is stronger than this version. Okay, at least in attack, as you see 10-0 works well. So looks like, for example, this version is a version that you can recommend, right? Like it's not like that useless. There are things where you can have better performance. Okay, take this into account. Okay, so this is what I usually do for testing. So I think these two heroes has been released very fast, but there is a lot of options here on testing heroes and to get value for them. Okay, so I will be testing more and I will come back with what I think this could be good heroes or good teams that can work well with these new heroes. Okay, so have a good day.